What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to iStuff Gaming, and today I'm going to be teaching you the ins and outs of Magical ADCs. Before I get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to keep up with any future content or watch me live on Twitch, I'll be leaving those both in the description below. Without further ado, let's get to the video. So before I get into builds, it's going to help you to understand who the Magical ADCs are. The Magical ADCs, Freya, Olorun, Sol, and Kronos. Those are the Magical ADCs who you're going to be playing in the carry support lane. And if you notice, between all four of those characters, is that all four of them lack movement. They lack a run move. They lack some kind of way to make sure to run away should they miss their abilities, or if they miss their basics, or if they're getting jumped from behind. So if you want to play a Magical ADC, you're going to have to get used to not having a run move and just being more of an aggressive or an all-in character if you decide to fight. So if I had to give my opinion on who the best Magical ADC is as of right now, personally I would give it to Freya. Maybe a tie with Olorun, but Freya right now is just really ridiculous just because of this passive and how hard her basics can just hit with this buff here. And even though Olorun does have that team-changing ult, and he does have that second bit of burst, this character is what a Magical ADC should be. Just complete burst. And it's really hard to deal with this character, especially when the late game comes. Olorun, you can dive, and he can't hit multiple people with just his second ability alone, unlike Freya. It's just, this character is absolutely nutty. And that leads me to my next segment. So if you're wondering why Magical ADCs are so good right now, it's because of this item right here. 80 magical power, 30% attack speed, and a 20% magical lifesteal. And the reason why this card is so good is if you look at the passive, it says, each successful basic attack applies a hex to enemies and empowers you. Enemies receive 5% decreased power per stack, while you receive 5% increased power. Both effects stack up to 3 times, and the stacks last 5 seconds. And that's every single time you hit them. So until you miss, it's not going to go on cooldown. This is a 15% power decrease for the enemy, while you get a 15% power increase. That is really freaking good. And on top of that, it gives exactly what a Magical ADC needs, which is the attack speed, the power, and the magical lifesteal, all in just one item. This card is absolutely ridiculous. So wondering why Freya and Olorun and Sol have been seeing a lot more play, that is the reason why. Also, another reason why Magical ADCs are so much better is because of this magical item here, Spear of the Magus. Whenever you damage an enemy god with an ability, you mark them to take 7.5% increased damage from all sources. This effect lasts for 10 seconds and can only occur once every 10 seconds. Now, a Magical ADC is not going to need 10 seconds to kill you. That is a really strong ability. And this does count for Freya, since this changes her basics to a projectile, so that counts as an ability. So this will make them take more damage, just with these two cards alone. So you have the extra damage on top of Freya's stim, on top of her range and ridiculous magical output. So, just those two items alone made Magical ADCs really, really strong. Now, there is a universal Magical ADC build, which you're going to be starting from the beginning of the game. Obviously, you're going to want a Hunter's Blessing, right? You're going to be going from Ring of Hecate into either Shoes of Magi or Shoes of Focus. Personally, I like Shoes of Focus better than I like Shoes of Magi, and this is the reason why. Because people are going to be building anti-heal against you once they see who you're picking. No matter how late into the game, they're going to be getting anti-heal against you. So just stacking lifesteal does nothing for you if everybody builds anti-heal. However, if you get Shoes of Focus, even though you trade off 20 power, you'll get more mana, and you'll get the cooldown reduction so you can keep your stims and your abilities going for as long as possible, which is really strong, especially on Freya. However, if you just want the extra power and you want Shoes of the Magi, this card is still really good. Up next, now this is personal opinion. I've seen people build Spear the Magus, which you're gonna want, but personally, I would always go Telkine's Ring next. This will make your basic attacks deal bonus damage equal to a percentage of your magical power. And while this doesn't affect structures, this is a defining card for Magical ADC. You want this item. And that right there is basically an all-around passive. I'll make a guide on him later on. However, this card, along with Ring of Hecate, makes it almost impossible to deal with a Magical ADC early if they're fed and they play smart. So, another universal item you're going to want, like I said, you're going to want Spear the Magus. And you're going to want Rod of Tahuti. Rod of Tahuti makes it to where once they go below a certain amount of health, your basic attacks and your abilities gain 25 additional magical power. Once they hit below half, they're basically instant nukes. This card, and on top of the fact that it gives 160 power, that's a lot. You're definitely going to want that. Now, you're probably wondering where your pen's going to come from. It's going to either come from Demonic Grip, or you can get an item like Charon's Coin. You can get Toxic Blade to deal with anti-heal. However, for me, Demonic Grip is the go-to. It reduces your target's magical protection by 10%. So that's also a really good item. Also, once you're able to get rid of boots, the last item you build is going to be up in the air. It just depends on who you're using and how you're using them. For Freya, for me, I would be building... Where is that item? I would be building a Toxic Blade. This is what I'll be building. Because I don't want... Even if they build anti-heal against me, I don't want them out-healing me. So I want to do as much damage as possible without them being able to heal through it. So Toxic Blade is a go-to, no matter what. So the final thing I want to talk about with Magical ADCs is the pros and cons to playing them. Earlier I mentioned that the Magical ADCs don't really have a lot of movement options, which is true. They do have some get off me. Freya has her lift, Kronos has her stun, Oleron has the knock up, Sol has her line move where she becomes mute. However, they don't necessarily count as run moves because they could still be on you, especially in those 1v when you're dealing with more than 1 or 2 people at a time. Another issue that Magical ADCs do have is the fact that they don't have an item to help them hit directly for the target's health in an attack speed item. Hunters do have this item with Quinn Size, with the Heartseeker, so they have that luxury of being able to deal with health builds. However, Magical ADCs do not. The only item they do have is this item right here, Soul Reaver. And Soul Reaver doesn't really work on a good number of the Magical ADCs. That's something you need to keep in mind. However, the pros completely outweigh the cons. They have Ring of Hecate, which is stupid good because it makes it to where even though you can't deal with their health, you can definitely decrease their power, making it to where it's really hard to get into those slug fights with you. You have Spear the Magus, which makes them take more damage from all sources. So Magical ADCs are definitely in a really, really strong place right now, and I wanted to go ahead and help people with how to build them properly. And that's all for the video. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I know it was kind of short and it was really to the point, but Magical ADCs are really strong right now, and this build that you can see to the left is the universal build. You can run this on any Magical ADC and it's going to work. Yeah, you can tweak some items out. You can probably replace Toxic Blade with another attack speed item like Hasten Ring. Personally, I don't like that item, but for each their own. You can also still build Bancrofts and Typhons, especially on Freya, who already has a natural lifesteal passive to make it to where, even though they build anti-heal, it's still really hard to deal with the character. But if you like the video, if you have any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll catch y'all next time.